One greetings from the High 10. It's Everyday Shenanigans. Thanks for joining me. This content is pertaining to a press conference that took place a few hours ago in Georgia pertaining to missing Quinton Simon. I will now play you the audio from that said press conference. After the audio plays, I will play another news clip pertaining to the search of this child in a landfill, and then I will give you my commentary, and feel free to hit the link if you'd like to give your opinion pertaining to today's news. Thank you so much for joining me.
Good morning. I'm Chatnam County Police Chief.
Sorry about that.
Chief Jeff Hadley, and I'm joined today by FBI Senior Supervisory Resident Agent Will Clark from the Savannah office. Chatham County Police Department and FBI entered a new phase in the search for Quinton Simon. A short time ago, we began what will be an extensive search of the waste management landfill located here in Chatham County. As with every step we have taken in this case, the need for this search was based on where the evidence led us. We have spent the last several days preparing and deploying extensive resources to support the search team and the investigators. And I would like to thank, for a moment, Chatham County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff John Wiltshire, Chatham County Emergency Management Agency, Savannah Police Department, Savannah Fire Department, Chatham Emergency Services, and many other agencies that have assisted in getting us prepared to begin our search of the landfill.
He was our son, and you killed him. Didn't God do that?
Sorry about that. I did not know they were going to be playing commercials. I listened to it earlier. Thank you all so much for your time joining me.
We know that this is going to be a physically, mentally, and emotionally grueling task for our investigators and team. Yesterday, our team posted this picture of Quinton here on the wall of this operations center as a reminder of who we are searching for and why we continue to work so terribly hard. We want justice for Quinton, just like everybody else, and we want to find his remains so we can give him a proper resting place. Once again, we are indebted to the FBI for their unmatched expertise that they have provided to us since they arrived on scene, less than 3 hours after Quinton was reported missing. Now I'll turn it over to Senior Supervisory Resident Agent, Mr. Clark, who also has a few remarks.
Thank you, Chief. Good morning, everyone. My name is Will Clark. As the Chief said, I'm the Senior Supervisory Resident Agent of the Savannah and Brunswick offices of the FBI. Throughout our process here, our goal has been to bring Quinton home and to hold anyone responsible for his disappearance accountable. We, along with our law enforcement partners, go into this process with heavy hearts. We do not want to end up at this point, but the evidence has taken us here. We are not just randomly searching this landfill. We have evidence, specific evidence that leads us to this large property. To help in this search, the FBI has brought in specialists from Quantico, Atlanta, as well as all of our personnel here in the greater Savannah area. The FBI's evidence response team, which has experience in landfill searches like this, is heading up part of this operation. At this moment, we have dozens of FBI personnel on scene in support of the Chatham County Police Department. We will have Chatham County and FBI personnel in the landfill each day, conducting a systematic search of the debris. This will be a complex and strenuous effort. Searchers will move through the debris placed on the search deck looking for evidence. Once that debris is cleared, it will be placed on the search deck and then removed and then replaced with another section of material. This will not be quick, it will not be easy, and the outcome is uncertain. As the chief said, we want justice for Quinton, and we want to find him a proper resting place. Again, we share the sorrow felt by millions and promise all of our available resources and expertise to assist Chatham County in finding little Quinton.
Thank you, Will. Now we'll take a few questions if you'd like.
What makes you think that
The evidence has led us to this place at this date and time. Nothing I can tell you specifically.
What day did you think you come in this landfill? Was it something you knew last Thursday, last Wednesday, last Tuesday, or yesterday, or this week?
Agent Clarkson, I answer any questions about the landfill.
We've been doing the evidence throughout the duration of this investigation. We've been following the evidence where it has taken us, and the evidence has taken us to this landfill. The efforts to undertake this landfill search have been several days in the planning. We brought in experts in landfill searches to guide us to the specific area where we'll be searching. Like I said in my comments before, this is not, we're not searching the whole landfill. We have a specific area where we are looking.
Maybe for you mentioned searching another recovery, evidence team has done this before. It's an area that you now grade off and put more trash coming there. It's a way for anything new that can be coming in.
Yes.
And is that because of where this trash specifically came from?
Yes.
And then I get for the chief. Sure, you know, we got to you 2:30 for Wednesday, and then the city and you're totally changed too much time like another show. You must be looking for investigators, agents, just can you talk about how hard this case has been?
Yeah, you're trying to get me to cry, I think. But it has. We had a meeting yesterday and to look across the multitude of people that are here and to feel and see their emotions, and but that's coupled with determination and dedication so we can find little Quinton and provide him a proper resting place. It does take its toll. There's a lot of time, energy, and effort that goes into not only the investigation, but the logistics in terms of getting everything we need to be able to provide the proper resources for the search teams and the investigators so we can reach a conclusion at some point. There's a large order of magnitude that has been brought to bear here for this. And I'll say it again, I can't thank the FBI enough for all that they have done. They have been tremendous and phenomenal.
And this is obviously is a criminal investigation now. It wasn't this person in the picture. It's not, right? No one's been charged.
No one has been charged.
Ulta Beauty Collection. Click below now to virtually try on.
Sorry about that, you guys.
Because we're not ready to charge anyone yet. We still have work to do. We still have an investigation to do, and we are not going to do anything preemptively that would harm future prosecution, where I'm standing before you 6 months from now talking about a flawed investigation or talking about why we did this and why we didn't do that. I believe in our investigators. I believe in the expertise that we brought to bear here. We are tracking in the right direction, but we're only going to do that when we're ready to do that.
Chief, does that mean you're holding out and this is capital punishment case?
No.
Chief, is this landfill the only place that y'all are going to be searching?
Yes.
You mentioned, of course, this is going to be a large scale, really strenuous operation. Do you guys maybe have a big idea of how long you think it'll take, or is that just kind of up to what happens out there?
It's kind of up to what happens, but as Agent Clark said, this is not going to be quick. This is not going to happen within a day or so. We are here for the long haul until we determine that we don't need to be here anymore.
Chief, let's back up a little bit in this investigation. One thing that never happened was there was never an Amber Alert sent out, there was never a Levi's call sent out. Why wasn't it?
It didn't meet the criteria of an Amber Alert at that time.
Why so?
I'd have to go back and look at the exact criteria, but we didn't have any specific information about an abduction. We didn't have a suspect for an abduction. We didn't have a vehicle description or anything like that. And Amber Alerts are very prescriptive in terms of when you can issue them. We didn't have that information at that time.
Do you know how tough it is to stay here right now? This is something you got in the trash.
It's tough, but you know, we understand that, you know, it's necessary. This is the work that we do, you know, albeit emotionally draining, albeit tough, albeit difficult. But this is what the community asks of our law enforcement officers.
I want to clarify something, Chief. It was asked a question earlier. Do y'all believe that Quinton was brought here and thrown in the landfill, or thrown in the trash and then ended up in the landfill?
We believe that he was placed in a specific dumpster at a specific location, and it was brought here by regular means of disposal.
But it comes from the gas station.
I can't answer that.
Is Liz still being suspect?
She is.
You mentioned there may be relations of flight risk, has that changed?
That has not changed.
How hopeful are you with flight?
I have every belief that we will find his remains here at the landfill.
Do y'all know where Leilani is today? I don't mean right at this actual moment, but do y'all know where she is?
I believe she's still here in Chatham County. We do not believe she's a flight risk.
And again, I'll ask one more time, what makes you believe that she's not a flight risk?
I can't get into that. Okay, thank you. Y'all have a great day.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Sorry for the noise in the background. WSAV3 is the source. I'm going to bring you another source of information. Then I'm going to chop up what was said during this press conference and this news article. Thank you all so much for your time. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $sign the Ganji, 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are welcome during the live. Fox Carolina is my second source of information. Thank you so much. This is pertaining to the police search in Landfill for missing toddler Quinton Simon. Thank you so much. WTOC is the source.
Know that this is going to be a physically, mentally, and emotionally grueling task for our investigators and team.
Chatham County Police Department and FBI giving an update this morning on the death and disappearance of 20-month-old Quinton Simon. Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley confirms law enforcement are now searching the waste management landfill in Chatham County looking for little Quinton's body. Thank you for joining us here on The News at Noon. I'm Mike Siegel. Today marks 2 weeks since little 20-month-old Quinton Simon was last seen alive. Quinton last seen on October 5th at his home on Buckhalter Road. Since he went missing, Chatham County Police have confirmed that evidence that they have has brought them to the conclusion that Quinton is dead. Law enforcement have named his mother, Leilani Simon, as the prime suspect in his disappearance and death. Joining us now to talk more about this, we have Jessica Savage, who has learned more from today's news conference held by the Chatham County Police Department. Jessica?
Mike, about an hour ago, we learned, like you mentioned, that the FBI and Chatham County Police Department are searching for Quinton's remains at the landfill off of Little Neck Road. That search effort began this morning, and it is something that they have been preparing for, though, for days, they said, just because of the physical undertaking and the efforts that go into that search. It's going to continue until his body is found. We're showing you a map now of where that main landfill is located. Now, this is a landfill that serves the area. So the landfill at this point is open to truck traffic, but they've actually roped off an area where they're searching right now, and those efforts will continue. Listen, though, as Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley explains how Quinton ended up there.
We believe that he was placed in a specific dumpster at a specific location, and it was brought here by regular means of disposal. I have every belief that we will find his remains here at the landfill.
Quinton Simon's mother, Leilani, remains the prime suspect in her son's disappearance. She was the one that called 911 to report his disappearance 13 days ago. Well, she has not been charged or arrested in this case at this point. Police said that they still don't believe she's a flight risk. Behind me, you can see the FBI and the Chatham County Police Mobile Command Center. This is where they will remain until Quinton's body is found. They're working inside those mobile units as these exhaustive search efforts begin today, and they'll continue as long as needed. Coming up on the news at 4, we're going to show you video of those search efforts that are underway right now. For now, reporting from El Scott Shell Park in Chatham County, I'm Jessica Savage, WTOC News.
All right, thank you, Jessica, and Harshay Schrader. Also at today's news conference, she joins us now live near that landfill off of Little Neck Road. Shay?
Chief Hadley and Will Clark with the FBI described how grueling the search process for Quinton's remains is going to be, and they said that this isn't something that's going to be wrapped up quickly, and we expect that it will take a very long time. Clark described just how physically involved that search process is going to be, saying that a team of people will have to move a pile of debris at the landfill onto what he called a search deck. They'll then have to go through that pile and determine if any of Quinton's remains are in it. If not, they'll move that pile of debris and search another one. It's an intensive process that can take a while, and no law enforcement, of course, wanted it to come to this point. As hard as it's going to be for those searching, they know that getting Quinton to a proper resting place is the most important thing right now.
Yesterday, our team posted this picture of Quinton here on the wall of this operations center as a reminder of who we are searching for and why we continue to work so terribly hard.
We did ask if there's any point that they would quit searching, and Hadley said that they won't stop searching for Quinton until they have a reason to. And like Jessica said, nobody has been charged in Quinton's death at this point. His mother, Leilani Simon, remains the only suspect. We asked if they were naming any other suspects, and they said that they weren't at this time. Live in Chatham County, Shay Schrader, WTOC News.
Thank you, Shay. And if you'd like to take a look at our past stories we've covered and to read up on the latest on the investigation, go to our website, WTOC.com. Just look for the Quinton Simon tab under the news section.
All right, everybody. WTOC is the source of that information via Fox, Carolina. Just going to recap. As most of you know, Chatham County and the FBI is currently searching a landfill off of Little Neck Road near El Scottsdale Park. It has been said that the child was thrown in a dumpster, and then that dumpster was taken to the landfill and discarded, trashed there. Evidence has led to this landfill, and we're going to chop up that said information. Once again, this landfill is off of Little Neck Road near El Scottsdale Park. Grueling task. They're not going to stop until they have a reason. So we're going to pray that there won't be a reason to stop the search for Quinton Simon. Give me one brief moment. I will be right back. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for joining me. From Buckhalter Road, where Simon and her family lived, to Little Neck Road, where the landfill is located. It's about a 16-minute drive. And this is via Little Neck Road, Highway 17, 10.4 miles. So we're going to chop it up there. Now for my commentary pertaining to this sad situation. Thank you all for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. Hello, Michelle. Specific evidence has led FBI in Chatham County to the landfill. Many of you are wondering what it is. I got information today that cadaver dogs have hit on a scent at this location. Once again, the child was discarded in a dumpster. Chief does not give you the location of the said dumpster because that was asked near the end of this video. Which dumpster was the child put in? He says he could not answer. So where was he discarded originally to end up in the landfill? How much evidence has been retrieved thus far in the 2 weeks of investigating this crime? Pings off of cell phones, Leilani's phone, scents from the dog, eyewitness, video surveillance. He lets it be known that this is not a random search. It's a designated search in the landfill, the only landfill. How long will this take? Until they get the job done. Some of you are questioning why she has not been arrested, Leilani Simon. They want to make sure they get everything right. So as when this goes to trial, there will be no mishaps or follies pertaining to the investigation and retrieving the information, search warrants. Some of us will think, well, whatever evidence you have should have been enough to arrest her because obviously she's lied to you in filing a missing persons report of the child. So therefore, the evidence that you gathered should stand on at least filing a false report charge. And then you continue your investigation to bring forth the murder charge. So far, no body. And she's remained free. Imagine if they didn't find a body. Let's just say hypothetical. A body is never retrieved. Then it will be relied on what other evidence they have found by text, messaging, phone calls, pings leading up to the day of the child's disappearance, eyewitness testimony, eyewitness accounts of the person's demeanor, Leilani, past reports of deviant behavior, drug usage, so on and so forth. Will it end up being just circumstantial and pings only if the body is not retrieved? The FBI has brought in Quantico to help with this search, and they have a special response team that has expertise in landfill searches. Chatham County and FBI, are searching for the child. And they will be searching each day until they find baby Q. Debris is cleared, put on a deck, searched through, repeat, removed, repeat. This will be a grueling process, as many of you should know, because you are talking about trash. It was asked what the evidence is. Everyone keeps asking that, reporters. And naturally, he's not going to tell you what they have against Leilani Simon. He also mentions they're reviewing and following the evidence, says the FBI. And that is why they brought in experts to search the specific area of the landfill. No new trash is coming in. That question was asked by reporters. One of the reporters asked the chief about his demeanor since all this began. And Chief basically said, "You're trying to make me cry." His demeanor possibly has changed because what started out as a missing child allegedly turned into homicide investigation. So the wheels turned in this case. A lot of resources have been put into this. Some people are questioning what's taking so long. If you're talking about a landfill search, you can use deduction that it would be grueling work to go into a landfill and try to find a person. And now you're talking about someone smaller than the average size human being. You're not talking about searching for a 6-foot human and hoping that the human was put into the dumpster hole. So you're talking about someone that's very small. And naturally, they were put into a regular trash truck. Those trucks break down debris, wood, whatsoever that's discarded in your trash into the truck, broke down. So now imagine a small person being inside of that dump truck, smashed down. Not to be derogatory, but it's just common sense. Why no charge against Leilani? He says they're not ready and they do not want to be preemptive in filing an arrest against the suspect. They will charge her when they are ready to charge her. It was also asked, are you searching other places, landfills? This is the only landfill that is being searched for baby Q. This is a large-scale search. Asked how long by the reporter. Chief tells you it will not be quick, will not be within a day. It was also asked, will the state seek the death penalty against Leilani Simon? The answer is no death penalty. No Amber Alert was released. That was also a question. He says it did not fit the criteria of this case because there were no specifics of an abduction, a car, or an individual. And that's what a lot of people don't understand about an Amber Alert. They just don't issue an Amber Alert because a child is missing. There has to be an ID of a human being that took the child. It has to be an ID of a car that the child got into. There has to be some proof that the child was abducted. The reporter also asks, how do you stand there knowing that the child was thrown in the trash? The chief says it's tough, but necessary because it is emotionally draining. And this is what the community has asked for from law enforcement. And I agree, very true. People have complained to LE down there that they're not doing enough, not doing their job. So this is what they're doing. They're searching the landfill because obviously evidence has led them to this specific place. And I told you earlier that I got information that the cadaver dogs have hit on a scent. And I also brought you that the other day. And I believe that's part of the reason they are there. I also think their pings from her cell phone put her there. There may be also surveillance of her dumping the baby in a garbage can. And the city knows where all dumpsters are released. Each dumpster, be it your house, apartment, condo, or business, has a specific locale as far as dumping the trash. So let's say she was seen on a video surveillance dumping the baby, her car, GPS, her phone, plus maybe eyewitness testimony, plus video surveillance of her car being in a certain place, then they already know where to go look in the landfill because each dumpster dumps trash in a specific place. It was also asked, was the child brought to the landfill or put in a trash dumpster? The chief says the child was discarded in a specific dumpster. It was also asked about a dumpster on I-95. He said he could not answer that. Could he not answer because, one, he doesn't know which dumpster the child was discarded in, or he does know but cannot reveal it to the public as not to alert the suspect, which we already know who the suspect is, that they know where she dumped the child and they don't want to give anything away in this case. Is that it? They do know which dumpster the child was put in. Because as I said, you have no idea if she's seen on surveillance dumping the child. It was asked again, is she the only suspect? And he said, yes, she is. Also asked about being a flight risk. He says nothing has changed pertaining to that question, which means they don't think that she is. He was also asked if she's still in the general area, Chatham County. He says he believes that she is still in Chatham County. Also asked about, do they believe they will find the child? And he's saying he has every belief that they will find the child at that landfill. It was also asked, what makes you believe that she is not a flight risk? He says he can't get into it. I asked, why not? It's a simple question. It's not giving away evidentiary material, I don't guess. So why do you think she's not a flight risk? Is it because you know she's codependent? You also know she has a drug problem. You know that she can't sustain herself. She doesn't have money, funds, resources. No money from an estate to liquidate to go on the run. Or is it because she's on probation? Possibly she transferred her probation from North Carolina to the state of Georgia. Because that is what is asked of you when you move from one state to the other and you have caught a charge. You're supposed to notify the next state probation office in your jurisdiction. Now that we know that North Carolina has very strict rules, what if we find out that she never notified the state of North Carolina that she left? Bet you all didn't think about that. So she could be taken back to North Carolina. Because by now, everybody knows her name and they know about the theft record. And I don't know how much time she has left on the probation, but let's just say it's not quite a year yet. The law is the law. They could easily pick her up, issue a warrant, and have her sent back to North Carolina for not, one, notifying the state that she left, two, not finding a probation office in the state of Georgia. Very interesting information. They live off of Buckhalter Road. They live on Buckhalter, Road. Very interesting, that title. The landfill is off of Little Neck Road near Scottsdale Park. The source of this information is Fox, Carolina. What is the evidence that they have against Leilani Simon to lead them to the landfill? As I said, I believe it's pings. I believe it's the cadaver dogs picked up a scent. I also believe GPS from the phone, possibly a car, and also surveillance from the neighborhood and possibly eyewitness testimony that they've seen her in a certain locale, parked, waiting, dumping of a tub, trash bag. And how will they find the child? Will the child be in a tote bag, a suitcase, trash bag, a box? What will this tiny person be discarded in? Or will he still be in that box, tote, tub once discovered in the landfill? It is a specific landfill. There will be no searches to any other landfills. So that means they have concrete evidence that led them to the place where they are. And as I said, I also believe cadaver dogs are part of this evidentiary material. They picked up a scent at this locale. She is the sole suspect. I'd like to know, how do you know for sure she is the sole suspect? So this goes back to evidentiary material, surveillance, eyewitness account, GPS on phones, pings from the phone, GPS on a car, if indeed the car had a GPS. Once again, surveillance of the general area from her house to wherever she dumped the child. How long is this search going to take? I guess we will have to wait and see. What is Leilani thinking now? Is she scared? She should be. But if she's a grand narcissist, she's possibly thinking, it doesn't matter if they find the body or not. I'm not going to tell you that I killed him. And if we're to believe that what she told the mother that she doesn't remember, that means absolutely nothing. Some of you are going to wonder if she's going to use an insanity defense. Well, you can't use insanity because she hid the body. She discarded the body. So that means she was lucid and knew what she was doing. So I don't see insanity working. But as we've learned with true crime, all it takes is one person to hang the jury. And when the one person hangs the jury, to hang the jury, you have a problem. And we've seen this with Casey Anthony. 12 people voted yay, set her free. And that would be even more disturbing. Because they found the body in that case, and people still let this thing roam the earth. Free. Casey Anthony is free. So you can't always bet on evidentiary material, eyewitness, video surveillance, a baby found, evidence of a baby found, evidence of abuse and or homicide. However, the baby was murdered, because I do believe the child was murdered. Sometimes that means absolutely nothing in the court of law because a person's fate is hanging by 12 people. And all it takes is for one person to think that the person is innocent. Oh, well, maybe it was an accident. So if it was, then why would you discard your child as trash? Call 911. That's why I don't believe this was an accident. As I said, what is she thinking now? What is Billy Joe and her husband thinking now? What is her family members, brothers thinking? What are the baby daddies thinking? Is somebody wishing they had never got tangled up with this thing? And believe me, you can be a parent and not care for your children at some point in life. Does Billy Joe resent her child now? Do the baby daddies resent dealing with her, making children with her? How do her brothers feel about her? What are the neighbors thinking? What is Miss McCarter thinking now that the landfill has been identified? What about her friends, associates? What other tales are going to come out about this female besides TikTok videos and lame-ass commentary from Billy Joe? Because really, I don't care about what Billy Joe has to say. I don't really care about what anybody that lived in the house have to say, because you are an eyewitness to the abuse. You're an eyewitness to the neglect. You're an eyewitness to her using narcotics. You have knowledge that she used narcotics while rearing children and knowing she was not supposed to be near the children. You should have been living in a separate domain, or she lived in a separate domain. I don't feel anything for anybody in that house except for the two remaining children and baby Q, who is now deemed deceased. It's too late. Everybody is guilty in my eye. Whether you were the one that smothered the baby, knew, strangled, however it happened, doesn't matter. Because that's the whole point. He's gone. And all of you sat in that house knowing the conditions of the house, the condition of the people's attitudes and disposition, the toxicity in the house of the individuals. All of you played a role, so you're all guilty. Because that's the thing about chaos. It can't be chaotic without a willing participant. Chaos, a noun. Chaos, a verb. Meaning, it cannot stand alone just on the word. It has to have willing participants. So you all are all willing. Now everybody wants to play possum and act like they're so distraught that, oh, the baby's missing. Oh, I think she did it. Oh, she said she did it. Oh, now it's the landfill. Here comes the waterworks. But you weren't crying when you was in the midst of the chaos pertaining to the children and the baby mother. And Billy Joe and however all that mess went on in that house. Buck Halter most definitely won't ever be the same. A reporter mentioned I-95 pertaining to a dumpster. Why did this reporter mention that locale? Were law officials seen searching a dumpster on I-95? And it got out to the media that FBI agents and sheriffs and deputies, police officers were looking through a dumpster and assumed it must be the search for baby Q. Is this the locale where the child was dumped? Somewhere, some establishment, business off of I-95, on the I-95, excuse me. Will Billy Joe be arrested for child neglect, gross negligence of the children? Where are the children? Who are they exactly with? How did it come to this, that a baby child ended up in a dumpster and then the landfill? The signs were always there, and perhaps nothing was able to be done. I don't know, because I don't know the exact situation pertaining to DHS, what was open, what was closed. But this is once again a very sick tale of a child missing, a parent lying to officials, filing a false report. Then information is coming in via pings, cadaver dogs, search dogs, eyewitness testimony, video surveillance, however it goes. And then the mother is deemed the suspect, but yet no arrest. And it is offensive to know she's walking around without being arrested. She should be arrested. I think everybody in that house should be arrested. That's just my personal opinion. But we have learned about association with a perpetrator. Just because you have knowledge that somebody is trifling doesn't mean you're going to automatically get arrested when it's coming to a crime against a child, allegations against a child, about a child rather. She went to court yesterday, she and her mother. They said the attorneys were sitting in between them in the courtroom. One is going to ask themselves, how in the world, Billy Joe, if this is true, you could look at your daughter and allow her to stay in your house? Because we know she's codependent, so that means she doesn't have the means to live on her own. So where is she living? Is she still living in her mother's house? What happened in court? No cameras were allowed and no information from the court was allowed to the media. All persons that were in court have been issued a gag order. So once again, as I said, who all was in the courtroom? Did anybody give any testimony to what happened? What happened? That's what I'd like to know. What happened in that courtroom? Is there a continuation from the court proceeding that happened yesterday? What was said to her, Leilani, what was said to Billy Joe? Did anybody get up to speak against these two? Was Miss McCarter there? We know that two baby daddies were there via video conference, and a grandfather was there, drove 4 hours. What was said? Did the judge ask anyone to give testimony against this mother as a mother? Did she lose her rights automatic in court yesterday? Did Billy Joe lose all rights to the child? What about the fathers? Were their rights stripped or asked? What are they planning to do as far as getting custody and proving that they're fit to take in the children? See, there's a lot of questions, and we won't know because a gag order has been issued by all the participants that showed up to court. So that means Billy Joe can't speak, Leilani can't speak, the baby fathers can't speak, assumingly the grandfather can't speak, whoever else came in to speak on behalf, against, or for the mother and grandmother. Was there a ruling during this court procedure. And this is not criminal. This is just for the custodial rights and the welfare of the two remaining children, Zane and Sky. Make that clear. Let's play a little information from WSAV because they are on this story. Can't get this. Let me try to turn this volume up for you guys to play another piece of commentary. Thank you all so much for joining me.
Bluetooth connected. Well, we spoke last week, investigators have evidence to that they say. Well, as a, what?
Trying to get it. Hard to get it to start where I need
Well,
it.
as the second week of a search continues, Chatnam County Police and FBI continuing to work for answers. And this is to the questions we are asking.
Sorry, it's a bit muffled. For some reason, this is not playing loud enough.
Last seen on October 5th at his Southwest Chatnam County home. Well, we told you last week, investigators have evidence to that they say leads them to Quinton's, to believe that Quinton is dead. So we want to check in right now with our lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington. He is live right now at the Chatnam County Police.
Let me try to find this story. Through the YouTube queue, because this one's a bit muffled. You can't hear it very well. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all so much, 57 viewing. Very sad story.
The search continues. Chatnam County Police and FBI continuing to work for answers. And this is to the question so many are asking. What happened to little Quinton Simon? The 20-month-old boy last seen on October 5th at his Southwest Chatnam County home. Well, we told you last week, investigators have evidence to that they say leads them to Quinton's, to believe that Quinton is dead. So we want to check in right now with our lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington. He is live right now at the Chatnam County Police Headquarters with a perspective for us tonight on this case from one of the country's most sought after legal analysts. Brett?
Dita, this is day 12 of the search for Quinton. This little boy's name, this little boy's disappearance is a conversation that's happening across this country. This is the last update we got about the search for Quinton. It's from Friday afternoon. The large group of police investigators and federal agents worked over the weekend, but not out searching for the toddler's body. That search has so many people talking and so many asking questions.
How could this baby get out of a pack and play, get out the door, through the neighborhood, and so far away he can't be found?
Quinton Simon, today's topic of Nancy Grace's podcast, the host and popular legal analyst told us after the story Quinton's mom, Lelaine Simon, told police is downright disturbing.
The biological mom cast blame on the bio dad, who is not part of this child's life. who lived a fair distance away and apparently has an alibi. Now that's according to reports. Maybe we've all got it wrong, but I tell you one thing, if my child disappeared on my watch, I would be going door to door myself. I would have to call the cops.
We know police have collected evidence in the case, but Chief Jeff Hadley says what that isn't something he's ready to talk about. The evidence Nancy Grace says police should get.
Everybody that was in and out of that house during the time surrounding this baby's disappearance, I would have them down at police HQ, get them to agree to a polygraph and start pinging their phones to find out every single place they've been.
Exactly.
We do know from police that they have taken at least one phone in this case, and we know from police in other cases that when you ping a phone, you can tell exactly where that person in that phone have been and who they talked to. Police haven't told us what they found on the phone they already got in evidence for this case. We're live at Chatham County Police Headquarters tonight. I'm Brett Buffington, WSAV News 3, on your side.
All right, everybody. Great information. Miss Nancy Grace gave her opinion. She'd be knocking on doors. Nobody would have to tell her, hey, help me find my kid. Exactly. Don't you find it interesting that nobody ever, spoke on behalf of the child, the mother, the grandmother, grandfather, as far as, hey, can you please help us? We're looking for the baby. We need help finding the baby. That is the most honorable thing you can do if you actually care for the child. And there have been many cases where people did not speak up originally when a child went missing, but they did not have anything to do with the disappearance of the child, such as the case a year ago in South Carolina where the mother and father never spoke up about the child missing. I believe it was a little girl, and she was kidnapped by the neighbor in that general area, and he murdered the child and threw her out in the woods near the apartment complex, near the townhouses. But nonetheless, you're going to be judged if you don't speak up, because the first thing a person is going to say is, this is your child. We don't care if you get on the camera and scream and holler and fall out on the damn floor. That's your baby. You should be screaming. You should be crying. You should be falling out. I just feel like at some point, we've got to stop just giving a pass for every little thing to say, well, everybody's different. Everybody mourns different. That's your kid. Why should strangers be falling out and crying about your baby? So yeah, people are going to look at you and think you got something to do with it. You don't say nothing. You don't even get a mouthpiece to say, hey, the baby's missing. Hey, the mother's too distraught to speak. The father's too distraught. The auntie too distraught. I'm going to be the mouthpiece to speak on their behalf. Hell, get somebody up there to say something so people will know, hell, you care about your kid. It's ridiculous. But don't judge. Don't judge. Well, we're human. We're going to judge. We're made of flesh. It's the bottom line. You hear that all the time. Don't judge. Don't judge. Yeah, well, if you were sitting watching TV, you'd be judging. You say the same damn thing. Why is nobody speaking up? Why is nobody rallying for the kid? Why is nobody wanting the kid found? Why isn't anybody saying anything about their own kid? Hey, can you help us? Hey, we need some flyers. Hey, we need something. Hey, we're going to have a prayer vigil over here on 15th Street. Hey, we're going to have a prayer vigil out here in the yard. You don't have to invite strangers in your house, because I don't recommend a bunch of strangers piling up in somebody's house. You don't know these people just coming in to sit up and hold hands and pray. We do it outside. This is Georgia, warmer weather, 60 degrees right now. So you already know it's seasonable to stand outside and pray for a kid. This is what's wrong with the world. Constantly enabling people. That's why people do the stupid stuff they do. Because they know there's going to be somebody that's going to be in their corner to support them. Because it's just the way it is. And that's why people act the way they act. Because they know, oh, I got them. They got my back. I can act a donkey's ass. I can keep neglecting kids. Nobody cares. I'll keep doing it until the bag falls. And that's exactly what happened in this case. The bag fell. at the expense of a 22-month-old. If you'd like to hit the link, join the Queen to give the information to discuss your opinion pertaining to what was released in the press conference by the FBI and the Chief Police, Savannah, Georgia. If you think the child will be found soon. The fact that the baby's mother is still free, walking around, attended court yesterday, no information released to the general public because a gag order has been issued for all the participants that attended court yesterday, juvenile court, pertaining to the custody and the welfare of those 2 remaining children. Once again, how did it come to this? How did it come that we're discussing now a deceased child? And Quantico is now on the scene with Chatham County searching for an itty bitty spider. How did it come to this? Thank you for joining me. That's my recap of the said information coming out of Savannah, Georgia. Lord have mercy. That's all I can say. Very sad. Very, very sad. Yes, I'm praying for him. Now we have to ask if who's going to pay for the funeral. I guess Billy Joe, she'll pay. Leilani doesn't have any money, so she can't pay for her baby. And I can't see her paying for the baby if she did have money. Just imagine if there was nobody that had any type of funds. Seriously, who would be burying the baby? Maybe the local funeral home would be kind enough to just give free services because it's a baby. If indeed there was no grandmother, granddaddy with income. This is so sickening because there were too many eyes on the children for this to have happened. And it shows that nobody cared for that child. And when you have abuse and neglect, you can't just assume that other children were not abused. Hello.
Howdy. This is just a complete and utter, I don't know whether to call this a shit show or an embarrassment. But
Elaborate.
It's horrific. You know, in the very beginning, you know, I understood the whole dot your I and cross your T. I got all of that. But now, you know, the more I sit here and I think about it and see, like you and I had talked before, you know, the FBI never stops, right? They don't ever stop. Did the local law enforcement not work for those 2 days or 3 days? Probably not. Did the FBI stop? No.
Why do you say local stop?
Well, you know, if that press release that was released on Twitter and on the Chatham County like Facebook page where they stated that there will be no searches Saturday or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Blah 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 blah.
Maybe they were trying to gather up enough people, and like he said, it costs. You gotta have first the manpower. You gotta have the tools. You gotta have suits. All that costs.
Yeah, because that's all.
Depending on how many people you even have out there searching, you gotta have the resources, the money. You got to have the suits, the hazmat suits. You got to have people that know what they're doing. So maybe it took a while to call all those people to come in because they said it's a specific team that does just that.
Yeah, it is. It's a specific, well, that's what my husband told me anyway. It's a specific team that comes in. They're trained. They're also trained to work with, they do a little something with the dogs, I think he said. They don't handle the dogs, but they do a little something with them also. They know that baby is there. They have hit on it. They know where he is. They have proof where he was dumped. They've got an amazing digital footprint of what led up to this, right? In this case, the FBI has not taken precedent over this case. It is still the county. So, like in the Gabby Petito case, right away you heard that the FBI was going to take the lead, right? This case is not that way. The FBI has not taken over because the county or the city has not done so, right? So the FBI, they wanted, there is enough for them to have the DA issue a warrant. It is solely up to the chief. I know 100 billion% they have debriefed on it. They have asked for it, and the chief says no. So it ain't up to the FBI. They're just there assisting. It is up to that chief. And believe me, they have asked for it, and it has been declined. Which is, in my opinion, very bizarre.
Mm-hmm. I guess he doesn't want. See, you could argue it 1,000 ways. You could say, well, you got something on her, just get her for the line, because the child, if you got evidence to prove that she dumped the baby, you claiming she did it, you're naming her, then that means you know that she lied and saying the child was missing, that somebody came and took the child. The boyfriend took the child, or she gave him to her. She got all these different versions. The child wandered off. Well, then just arrest her on the first charge of lying, filing a false report. Make her know we mean business.
That alone?
Because what if you didn't find the baby? Let's go there. If you didn't find the baby, then how long would you let her walk free? Bingo card.
Yeah, exactly. So right? You have that digital footprint. It is in black and white. There's no, that was not her because it came from those devices, period. We know that. You know where she dumped him. 100%. That they couldn't fight that in court if they wanted to. Number 2. Number 3, what else are you waiting for? You're waiting for a body, just like you said. We're talking, this little boy has been in this landfill for how long? Do you know what kind of vultures could have been eating at his poor little body and maggots? They may not even have a body.
That's why I said, we don't know what she put him in. And anybody with sense would discard the baby in a bag or something, because you don't even want to be caught just taking a baby under your arm and dumping the baby in a dumpster. Common sense would tell you to put it in something, like you're discarding trash. Somebody in the chat says the community is protesting outside of Billy Joe's right now. How do you feel about that?
I get it, right? I'm all for peaceful protesting. Yeah, I get it. Go do your thing. But I don't think you should be out there with no bullhorns, and you should not be up on nobody's property.
Okay.
Don't be knocking at nobody's door. If you're going to go out there and hold some signs or what have you, go ahead. As long as you stay within what the law permits. I wouldn't be out there knocking on doors. I wouldn't be out there knocking on their door or trespassing. But I think in this case, I feel like this little bitch feels like she's going to get away. I have a feeling that this girl feels like she's going to get away somehow, that nobody has put pressure on her. So standing outside holding a sign, or even some chanting, if that's going to ruffle her feathers a little bit, so be it. Just don't go breaking the law. Don't be up on anyone's property or destroying anything, or none of that stuff. But I don't understand how they think that I can understand them not thinking that she's a flight risk, right? Because she may not have the resources. Maybe her mom's like, I'm not giving you the resources. But what if she unalived herself? You know what I mean?
Kill herself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that too. That they're close now to fighting the baby. She knows they're close now. She may kill herself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything to live for anyway. They took the other kids. Baby daddy's gone. People are hating me. People are hanging around the house. You got YouTubers coming on the scene. Press conferences that they know where the baby is. It's only a matter of time they'll find the baby.
Yeah,
But she might be a narcissist and think they won't be able to dig.
it's very possible. It is very possible. I mean, look at you have a grandmother that obviously don't know how to obey what, court orders. She had custody of these little boys, and yet you still left them in her care, whether that was court ordered or rather she told the daughter, you're giving me custody. At some point, that mother or the court did not trust her enough to have custody of those two kids. So the grandmother is not trustworthy. You left these little kids in her care knowing that she is not a fit human being. She's not a fit mother. You have people coming in and out of your home. You have different people living there. You have 4 different stories of what happened to this little boy. According to baby daddy, he's seen him at 6 o'clock in the playpen. Well, bullshit. That ain't the truth. So now what? You're covering up for her? You know something.
What do you think the boyfriend knows? The one that's gone.
I think he knows. He may not have said it, but I think he knows internally what she was capable of and what she probably did. That's why he got the hell out of there.
Okay.
If he truly loved this woman, right? If I was being investigated or looked into because I did something like that and my husband up and left the next day, that says a lot.
It does say a lot. And that's what's interesting about people is that they will ride the ride so far with you into the abyss, and then eventually they'll try to swim their ass out of there.
Yeah.
That's what he's done. He's left her. Do you believe she's at the house living with I was going to say Jody? Oh my God, with Billy Joe. Man, I'm sick of these people's names. Do you think she's at the house with her mother and stepfather?
I think that if the YouTubers are outside, I think they've probably snuck her out of there.
Okay.
I think that they're fearing for her safety.
Somebody says the boyfriend knows. He ran like a mug out of there. Burnt rubble. Yeah. Anytime people start disappearing out of a relationship, they have knowledge. You can judge it too well. They're scared. They don't want their name implicated. No. They're finding out, okay, they've been sleeping with the enemy. So it could be that rare case they're innocent and they just said, I don't want no parts of this. I'm bailing out. But the thing about it is, bingo card, you didn't take that baby with you.
No, you sure did not.
There you go. I just thought about that.
You left that little girl. You left your daughter.
Yeah, you left the daughter before the state even got involved.
Right. If that, think about that.
That's a very valid point. I just thought about that.
My husband, if I would have harmed one of my kids, my husband would have took the other 3 and left and been like, chick, you're on your own. If he had a feeling, right? He had a feeling. What type of mom does she have to go to or text whoever she texted and said she killed him, he's not alive, and he's in a landfill? So
let's go there. I was sitting here thinking, I wonder, did he leave first or did he leave after they took the kid?
You're talking about the boyfriend?
Yeah.
If I'm correct, he left the next morning.
After they took the kids?
No, not after. It was before.
Okay. So see, that's what's going to be up for grabs. When did he leave actually?
Well, I know when he left. My husband told me that's when he left.
Okay, so if he left before the state even came in, because I think the state didn't get the kids till 5 days later.
Yeah.
On the 12th.
He left, I think it was the next morning.
So that means you had a guilty conscience or guilty knowledge.
I would have took my daughter, because
he should took the baby.
Take one, right?
He should have took the baby. Well, he take his own. He take his own child.
Yeah, that's it.
Your own child.
Take your kid and leave, right? If you truly believe that your woman did not do this, and you, sir, have a very clear conscience, right?
Right.
You sit there and you tell yourself, I didn't have nothing to do with it. Here's all my electronic devices. Do whatever you want with them. and you know you're innocent, you'll stay there, right? If
See,
you really love that other person. And
this is
because
why you know
they're going to find nothing on you.
she's diabolical, because the versions are changing about who came in to get the child. So if you 1 minute saying the child was kidnapped, then you say the baby daddy came and got the child, baby Q's daddy, and then you saying that like what, he took the child, which is so ever. The point is you still implicating him. That lets you know she'll implicate anybody. If you implicate somebody that don't even live near the scene, because that's what was brought in this commentary that I've played. He doesn't even live near Georgia, baby Q's father. I don't know where he lives, whether it's 2 hours up the road or whatever, in the same state, I don't know. The point is, if he's been cleared, he's not in the child's life. That's what was mentioned. He's not in the child's life. We've got to ask the obvious questions. The baby's 22 months. When did he get out of the child's life? Was this just a hookup type situation? He found out she was pregnant. He didn't want to be the daddy, so he ain't played no role. Did she ever try to file child support on him? So you have to ask all those questions. Why would you implicate him? Because now there's going to be pure hatred. And possibly was pure hatred anyway, because maybe, as they said, he didn't want to be a daddy. She's been holding this grudge against this baby. The baby looks like him. So every day she looks at the baby, she's looking at this daddy who maybe ran out on her when she found out she was pregnant. But nonetheless, she implicated him as an abductor. That's deep. So if you implicate somebody who ain't even fooling with the baby, you will do it to somebody who's right there in the house with you.
Of course. And you know, the fact that this, you know, baby daddy, the little girl's dad, up and left the next morning, this sucker told police that he's seen him at 6 a.m. and the police know that is not the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So you just look like...
So that's what I was questioning, because people like to argue about stuff. But like I tell everybody, you can't argue over these people because, one, you don't even know them, and you don't know what the fuck was going on in that house.
I think there is more. I think there is a couple, may not be a couple people involved, but
that's what I'm saying. You don't know. Nobody knows that he actually saw the baby. You can't. If we to believe the information about the pings and the door opening and closing it, 3-hour window in the house, you couldn't have seen the baby at 6 a.m.
No, he didn't. He's a you know what, liar. He's a liar. That's why he got the hell out of Dodge, because he knew that he told these police, these two idiots haven't even done a formal interview.
Yeah, well,
this is all speculation.
He was saving his own self, because everybody knows the person that pleads first is the one that gets the lesser charge. Everybody, exactly. or they get immunity. So 9 times out of 10, if they don't charge him with anything, that means he'll be the star witness besides Miss McCarter, and he'll be the one talking about how jacked up the situation was, why he stayed. But the defense is going to chew his ass alive, because you know what they're going to say? You were still there all alone, knowing she was an addict while possibly carrying the kid, addict afterwards, however it went down, getting high, getting in trouble, y'all ruining this woman's house, fighting, fussing. You were there to the very end. You were there to the very end. So you can't try to talk your way out of it like you ain't did nothing.
He did. They all did something.
Yeah.
The grandma basically said it's okay that you beat and hit on your children, whether it was just this little guy or it was the other little guy. She basically is okay, you know, nodding her head that it's okay and turning her a blind eye. And she had custody. That right there, they should have cuffed her up.
Yeah, they should have.
They should have cuffed her up.
But guess what? They're not going to cuff her up because they ain't even arrested the person that actually dumped the kid.
I know.
If you ain't going to arrest Leilani, what you going to arrest Billy Joe for?
Well,
she's not there. She's not there. So you're not even arresting the person that you're saying is the suspect.
And that's all. Crazy. That is all based off of the chief. The FBI has made the recommendation for an arrest. They have made the recommendation. The chief said no, he is not going to the DA. Until that chief says the FBI is now leading this investigation, that's it. It's up to the chief on who and when they decide to get the warrant. But I'm letting you know, the recommendation has been put on the table multiple times by the FBI. The chief basically called the FBI in to do the digital footprint, right? To dig it all. Dig, and do their magic and bring all these special teams from all over the place, flying people out from all over the place, different cities, different counties, all over, right?
Yeah.
But yet he's not smart enough to do what he should have did. At least arrest her on the few charges that you can get her on.
Yeah.
Child
The lion should be number one because you already got proof that she lied.
It's a shit show. It is another Summer Wells. This little boy has been sitting in the dumpster, or not the dumpster, but the landfill with them knowing where he was. Yes, they were out there searching yesterday. They were. And they were out there the day before. Forensics was out there yesterday because they thought for sure they had him.
Okay.
They thought for sure they had him because of where the dogs were hitting.
Okay.
So once that happens, they have to be like, hold off. We can't, we're not moving. We have to wait till forensics gets here. Certain people have to come in and say, okay, well, we need to remove, just hypothetically saying, this bag before it can be opened to actually make a discovery.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a body. It was, another scent. He's there. Those dogs have it pinpointed.
Yeah, but we don't know how far deep down if it was flattened. If the ground was flattened, that means you got to dig that up.
Yep. In my opinion, I've asked my husband, why aren't they doing this like around the clock? Like, why aren't they digging like around the clock with these like floodlights? And they've got to recover him. And he says it's not the FBI's call. It's the police chief. So they're only there to assist. That's it.
Oh, Lord of mercy.
Mm-hmm. It sucks, because she's free to roam, right? She can go.
That's it. She's free. My thing is, I don't care what she's feeling and not feeling. This is just commentary. The point is that she is free. And if she wanted to, she could disappear. It may be hard for her because she doesn't know how to live on her own, but it can be done.
Yeah, of course it can be. And, I think that possibly, I don't know about Billy Joe, but possibly the grandfather or the step grandfather or Billy Joe's husband, whatever you want to call him. I think one of them has money. I have a feeling that
they both work. Listen, if they both do the same type of work, welders make good money.
Yes,
so you got in two employees doing the same type of fit work. They probably make $100,000 both.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very easy. And the fact that I'm assuming that attorney that was in there yesterday was hired. Like he wasn't, sent by what do you call them? The state's attorneys that, you're appointed an attorney. I don't think that was the case at all. I think that was a hired attorney, and you're looking easy retainer fee about $8,000 to $10,000.
Say what?
If they had to hire him, they had to put down a retainer, right?
Hire who?
An attorney. There was an attorney at the court hearing yesterday.
Yeah, I heard it was two in between them in the court, juvenile court.
Yeah, so they had to hire an attorney. They weren't going to be appointed one, or at least Grandma's not. She makes too much money.
Yeah. Well, you all forgot the state will give you an attorney pertaining to children court. We learned that with the Summer Wells case. I'm assuming they do the same in Georgia, but you are allotted an attorney in juvenile court. You don't have to buy the attorney. The attorney,
you don't have to meet
you have custody.
You don't have to meet a financial guideline. Like you don't have to make under a certain amount of money.
Yeah, I mean, that with Kyle City, they got one. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember, attorney was given to them, or let's say Summer Wells. We knew that from when they was going to court. An attorney was given because remember, the mother kept throwing up attorney this, don't say this, don't say this. We found out it wasn't a regular attorney. It was a juvenile attorney by the courts telling her don't talk, telling the Wells not to talk, not a private attorney.
I'm gonna have to look that up because I could have swore that I can see Candace Wells being appointed one because she ain't got no money, right?
Right. So that's what I'm saying. The state, I don't know. I just know a few states done it. That's what was said here, to give you an attorney to help you aid in getting custody of your child.
Well, regardless, they ain't never getting those other 2 kids back ever. And if those boyfriends or baby daddies are not fit financially, don't have a place to live, are not able to stand on their own 2 feet, they're not getting nothing either.
Well,
that's wishful thinking over there. The state probably wouldn't even want those kids going with them because they don't know what they're capable of. They're going to look into their backgrounds. Do they have criminal backgrounds? It's just horrible. This whole thing is horrible. It's disgusting.
A Balance says it seems that BJ wanted to absorb Leilani's prior babies so she could focus on the newborn with new man. Discussed in Baby Factory. Seeing that BJ wanted to absorb Leilani's prior babies. What do you mean, A Balance? What do you mean? So who could focus on the baby? Oh, so she could focus on her new baby and man. Yeah, but she didn't take care of the kids. So we know that's not true. That's why I kept trying to say, I do find it important to know when she took the welding job. Has she been doing the welding job all along, a couple of years, or did she just start welding? Because all that shows intent with the custody papers. It will show if she truly intended to help her daughter or not, truly wanted to take care of the children or not. Because she's shown that she doesn't. So that's why I wanted to know, when did she take this job, this welding job, or has she been doing it all along? Because my thing is, you willingly went to the church asking for help for a babysitter, and somebody recommended McCarter. And you and McCarter talked, not McCarter and Leilani. So that shows right there, Billy Joe was the orchestrator from day one.
You wonder too, what type of upbringing or non-parenting did Billy Joe do?
Well, she didn't have any proper rearing. I bet you if we go back in the book of life and somebody decides to tell the truth, we're going to learn that grandma wasn't a good mother to Billy Joe and her children.
If I'm correct, grandma has an extensive background also. Older.
She probably was a young woman. She might have been one of those women back in her day that was hot in the seat, and she was out philandering and picking up meat and doing all kind of stuff too.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that, not one bit. I don't think that she's by no means going to be able to do a freaking insanity plea. That no way. You're not that insane if you're doing your drugs on a daily basis. You got to have some competency. You know what you're doing. You know right from wrong. She's going to be doomed for the rest of her life at some point when they decide to cuff her up. That's for sure. I hope she's scared. I hope she feels intimidated. And hopefully there is a bunch of protesters out there doing it properly. But let her feel a little intimidation. That little man, that little boy, he didn't have a chance. Can you imagine what he felt when she would hit him or spank him or pinch him or whatever the hell she did to him? Can you imagine what he felt on a daily living with that broad?
I can't imagine. I don't want to imagine. I don't want to imagine anything pertaining to how he got to be where he was.
Yeah.
I just don't want to.
AB said nobody understands what love is in that home. That's for damn sure. They don't know how to give it, and they've probably never received it. Period. She probably was not a good parent. Obviously, she's already got one in prison for murder. And Billy Joe was probably not loved and properly parented either. So therefore, she didn't know how to parent.
The house is probably nasty too.
Don't even get me.
As somebody said to me last night, well, you can't say you were raised a certain way, so some people may not know how to keep a clean house.
Oh, hell.
But like I want to tell the person last night, I don't make excuses for stuff like that, because when you start making excuses for stuff like that, you just start making excuses for everything.
Yep.
Don't nobody know anything. We get it. Some people aren't taught anything. But once you start getting older, rearing children, you got to teach your children how to keep a clean house, keep a clean body. And if it start affecting other people, neighbors, tenants, how's that my problem?
You have to. Your children.
I don't care if somebody teach you something. What's that got to do with me?
They got to learn how you can teach your children at a young age. People base an opinion off of your presentation of yourself, right? You don't have to wear designer clothes and all that type of stuff, but you should have on clean clothes, and you should have a haircut, and you should always wear deodorant. You should keep a clean body. Period. Self-appearance says a lot. I've always said to myself, my boys are the presentation of myself when I am not around them. My two that are left at home, one's a senior in high school and the other one's in 8th grade. They shower 2 times a day. They put their deodorant on, their cologne on. They get a haircut every Sunday. They don't go to school wrinkled. I mean, I know I'm a little far-fetched and I do a little too much probably, but
well, I'm not accepting these excuses from people, because like I said, this is the reason why we have the problems we have in America and abroad, because nobody wants to own their part in child rearing, and it wants to make excuses for why things go bump in the night with their children, and the children being wayward, or you're not teaching your children proper hygiene and how to speak to people, how to treat the household, teaching your children how to do chores, things and that's on you. I feel like this, when that shit starts affecting me and other tenants and people in the neighborhood, what does it have to do with us? It's not our problem that you weren't taught how to raise a child, and now you got the child and you just let your children do anything. What does that have to do with me? I'm not getting ready to take on the world's problems, and I don't feel like I should have to be saying anything to you about your damn kids either. That's how I look at it.
It's like,
get sick of this, all these excuses.
When you have a kid, right? There's no manual, right? There's no manual. So when you become a first-time parent, you got 2 choices, right? You either try your damnedest to do the very best that you can, educate yourself, whether it's reading a book, whether it's reading a magazine, reaching out to people that, have more experience. There's all different kinds of resources that people can have or get for free, right? But me personally, that instinct, when I had my first baby, that instinct just like kicks in. Maybe it was because of, how I was raised. I wasn't raised horribly. I was raised by my grandmother and only my grandmother, and she did an amazing job. And I just kind of passed that along. But I know people, my sister-in-law, she never had babysat a day in her life. She had my niece at Kaiser Hospital. My niece is now 22. And do you know they would not release my sister-in-law from the hospital until she went through a parenting class?
Well, everyone's different.
Yeah, they did. They put her through
Well, I don't think the babysitter, that wasn't her job to be keeping somebody's child 24/7.
No,
I don't
it
understand the
wasn't.
comment.
Poor woman.
It wasn't her job. And Penny, what are you talking about? You wish you were there. Why you want to be out there with that?
I think we're all outraged, right? Everybody's outraged. Anybody that has heard anything about this is outraged because, you think to yourself, this poor little boy, he never had a shot. Why him? And to hear that she threw him in the garbage.
Sad.
That's just worse.
Yeah, well, he had to go somewhere. Let's just keep it real. The dumpster, out in the woods, it's all the same. He's discarded like trash.
That's what I'm saying.
He had to be discarded somewhere.
You discard anything. It doesn't matter if it's a baby, an adolescent, an adult.
It's jacked
When
up.
you discard a human life, and I'm not talking about shooting somebody and they're right there in the road. I'm talking about you deliberately try to hide them like they're garbage, right? You already killed them. That's bad enough.
I agree, AB. If you getting high during and after pregnancy, you don't care about nothing.
Nope, that's for damn sure. That is for damn sure.
Well, let's talk about the boyfriend. If she's getting high with the children up until he went missing, what were you doing? Checkmate.
She clearly, cocaine is an expensive, that's a rich man's drug.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, what was the boyfriend doing while she's getting high? If she was getting high, exactly. Why would a man want to be with a woman that's a junkie? Now, I've seen guys chase after women who get high. They even pick up deliberately to date, which shows me there's something mentally wrong with him. But nonetheless, what was the boyfriend doing while she's getting high? Are you telling her, don't get high? Oh, I love you. You don't need these drugs. How long are you going to be with somebody that's a junkie unless you're getting high too? Thank you.
They're all the whole house of cards has crumbled, and we are going to learn, I think, some wild and crazy crap.
I won't doubt that he also gets high as well, just like that mess up there in Athens, Georgia, pertaining to Debbie Collier. 2 peas in a pod. Because you're not going to make me believe you're not getting high either, because it makes no logical sense to be messing with people that get high. Now, yes, I understand everybody's rationale is different, but at some point that shit's going to get old. Running to the courthouse, filing charges on people, arguing with people, fighting with people, people stealing from you. You got to get tired of that. You got to get tired of that. So that leads me to believe you also get high. Because what am I gaining out of being with you when you get high and I don't get high? And I'm looking over my shoulder and I'm looking at things being, missing out my house, missing out my bank account. How many times I'm going to keep getting notifications and running to the bank with no money in there? Or I bought something new and it's now missing.
Yeah, it's
Why she don't go steal in the street? You want to steal? Go steal in the street. What you gonna steal out the people house you stay with? That's stupid. We're just wrong to steal, but you understand what I'm saying? But we know a junkie, they're not gonna differentiate the theft.
It's just sick. The whole thing is sick. They're all sick people.
All these cases are just alike. Don't you find that interesting how similar all these cases are all over the United States? Different people, different races, white and black. Let's make that clear. White and black, Hispanic too. All of you, bottom feeders. Don't got nothing going, don't want nothing for yourself. Your whole life is around a crack pipe and a needle and snorting and doing this shit 24 hours a day. And then you got the nerve to have kids in your house. Don't want nobody telling you nothing, but always begging somebody, need money, need help with a light bill, need help with the rent, the mortgage. I will give you a damn dime. If I can't take your children, I'll make provisions for somebody to step in to get your kids. I will give you nothing.
And if there was an open and or closed CPS case,
That's even worse. CPS. It's even worse if it's an open case.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fact that all these kids, look at Summer Wells, God, we don't even know how many CPS cases there was. You know what I mean? Or the West Boys.
The way it looks, I'm gonna be truthful. The way it looks, don't look like there was no open case on nothing.
Either they had an open case and they didn't give 2 shits, or there was and they've dropped the ball. One or the other.
6 weeks later, you let them boys stay in the house for 6 weeks. That's a long time.
That's for damn sure. Especially with those allegations of, SA and whatever else. That's horrific right there.
Sad.
These kids are born.
Hit the link. You want to give your opinion pertaining to the news coming out of Savannah, Georgia, pertaining to the press conference? They're currently searching a landfill off of Little Neck Road. One landfill only. Have evidence to where the child is. My understanding, cadaver dogs have hit on the child.
And they have it 100%. It is narrowed to a specific spot. So they know where that truck dumps, in what location of the
Just
landfill.
sad.
So they know. They know.
And tomorrow, I want to bring you news. There's a current story coming out of, I believe it's Tennessee. I just posted it to another platform. A young man was driving around with his mother in the trunk.
Oh,
Guess that'll be my next story. I'll just intertwine it with some more crazy nonsense. Let me pull it up while I'm live. Hold on. Found it on Twitter. Excuse me, I was munching. I haven't had nothing to eat today. Lord have mercy. Oh man, it just don't stop.
Doesn't stop. And after, just think of this. After this case is, not over, but after they get her in custody and he's found, we're going to hear about another child.
Yeah, that's the
It
point.
never stops.
All right, this is about CBS News. Oh, it was Texas. I don't know why I kept thinking it was Tennessee for some reason. Okay. The body of a Texas woman found in the trunk of a car that crashed in south central Nebraska. During a police chase was the mother of the teenage driver. Police have confirmed the crash happened Friday along Interstate 80 near Grand Island. Shortly after, Nebraska authorities were alerted to be on the lookout for a vehicle out of Texas believed to be involved in a possible homicide there, Nebraska State Patrol. So obviously he drove from one state to other states with a body. Those are charges right there. A trooper spotted the car minutes later, attempted to stop it, but the driver refused to pull over, and a chase ensued up to 110 miles an hour. The speeds. The car soon crashed. 17-year-old driver suffered serious but non-lethal injuries. Police said. Police also found the body of a woman in the car's trunk. Well, we heard a story like that out of Texas. A black guy had killed the girl and put her in the trunk, and he was speeding down the highway. People had called on him. They chased him. He wrecked, and there was a black girl back there in the trunk. Man, this is crazy.
God.
The following day, the patrol identified the woman as 49-year-old Michelle Ruentz of Harris County, Texas. The Harris County Sheriff's Office confirmed Monday, she's the mother of a 17-year-old boy who was driving the car. Both Michelle Ruentz and her son had been reported missing from their Texas home Thursday by the teen's father. The father also reported the family car missing. Homicide investigators in Texas responded to the Texas home based on evidence collected at the scene and issued a rescue alert for both Michelle Ruentz and her son. All right, so what was the evidence left behind for them to assume what? Foul play took place in that house. Preliminary reports show Michelle Ruentz died from strangulation and blunt force trauma, says Harris County Deputy Thomas Gilliland Monday. Gilliland said Texas authorities are working with Nebraska officials to extradite the teen to Harris County to face a charge of unauthorized use of a motor vehicle. Once investigators interview the teen, an additional charge of murder is expected, Gilliland said. The Associated Press does not typically name juveniles charged with a crime. Woo! Wow. I'm out of breath from that. This is sad. I know she belongs to a union because she said that in that TikTok video or whatever that video she made. She has been welding longer than 3 years during COVID. Okay, well, so 9 times out of 10, she was a welder when she took custody of the children, which shows she didn't care for the kids because she still left them in the house with the daughter. And whether the daughter lived in the house with her or not, lived in a separate unit, you still let her have access to the children, which shows gross negligence. That's that. Quinton in the past month, August, September is my understanding. Well, it's all the same to me. 1 child, 2 child, 3 children. What's the difference?
Oh God.
It still shows gross negligence because you're filing paperwork on kids that you have no intention of raising. You had no intention of raising. You didn't. All this is past tense. You did not raise the children. You did not see to the daily care of the children. You weren't home to see the daily care. So why the fuck are you the custodian?
You know, when that little twit.
That doesn't even make logical sense. Go through all this trouble filing paperwork knowing you have no intention of raising the kids.
I think because she knew the state at some point was going to jump in and
it had to be. It had to be. It had to be.
She knew it.
That's why I tell people when they come in the chat talking all that crazy stuff about the state wasn't involved. Then what's the logical reason for taking the kids and then you don't even keep the damn kids?
She was
bullshit.
She jumped in before the state intervened.
Damn
period.
Skippy. Damn Skippy. Damn Skippy.
It had nothing to do with
something
money.
was said. Something was said. Somebody complained. It's something. Just like with this stuff on that DHS report about she's been using narcotics. Okay, well, she's been using narcotics. It ain't never dawned on you where she lived, her proximity to the children. While you giving all this information about, oh, she was getting high after this baby, that baby. She's had prolonged use. She tested positive for cocaine, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, explain how you didn't know she was not living with the children. How is it that you got all this information about her getting high, but you didn't know that she's in the same damn house with the kids? Explain that, because that wasn't explained in that DHS report. You left that part out. How is it that you did not know she was still in the custody, in the peripheral of the children, using drugs? How would you not know that? That's all I got to say. How would you not know? Explain that to the queen. You can give me all this information about her getting high. Okay, well, explain to me how you didn't know that where she lived. Come on now. It's BS. All these stories are the same. Always testifying after the fact. It's pointless.
And you know, it's even more disgusting if this babysitter, in fact, had been telling Billy Joe that she is seeing abuse and not, you know what, did nothing about it.
That's why she sealed herself. That's why she sealed it up when McCarter went live and told that sealed everything up. Because when she said, I even got receipts, text messages. A lot of people keep their texts. I don't. Because I don't feel like any conversation I'm having with anybody is worth me keeping it in the, in the message center. You'd have to been keeping that for a reason. So let's go there. Why did McCarter keep all these damn text messages?
She wanted to be able to prove if something ever happened to those little boys that nobody would ever be able to blame her for doing it. Well, number one. And number two, she wanted to be able to say, I told the grandmother.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, if that's true, look at the end result. Look at the end result. That's why I said McCarter was putting her own self in the line of fire by keeping those kids. Because while you're complaining, keeping text messages, you're still involved with these people. See, that's the point I try to make people understand. It doesn't matter that you think she's a nice person, this and that. You're involved. See, it's not the same if I go to Kroger, the grocery store. I overhear two people talking about Pookie Ray Ray beating a kid. I don't know who they're talking about. Well, I don't got no dog in that race. You understand?
Yeah.
That's just hearsay. But you're keeping the kids and dealing with the kids and dealing with the mama, dealing with Billy Joe, all this interaction, you're looped in there. Text messages or not. You are in the abyss with these people. And that's why it was easy for them to turn on her at the end. Hear what she said? You were in my house. You the only one that can come in my house. Well, how can she come in your house through a locked door? If your doors are locked, how's she just gonna come in your house and steal a kid? How far can she keep a kid if she want to kidnap a kid and she lived right down the damn street? This is stupid.
Yeah, that whole thing was odd. she was looking to blame somebody because she knew
That almost makes me think Billy Joe knew something the day she went in McCarter's house. Bingo.
Yes, that's what I thought. You knew, bitch. You knew. You're looking to try and point the finger elsewhere. You knew. You knew, honey. You knew all about it. You knew what was going down. Your damn daughter said.
Well, Cheryl, she did hurt the baby. And I don't know how Billy Joe could think she wouldn't hurt the baby if she knew that she was an addict. That's stupid. That's stupid. As my friend said last night, he said, well, is it possible that she was high, geeked up, got mad at the child was crying or something, and then, you know, one thing led to another, her trying to hit the baby, you know, beat the baby, strangle the baby. In the end, it don't matter because she's not supposed to be around the children, so it don't even matter. How it went down. You weren't supposed to be about the children.
I think all those losers under that roof party together. They party together. They get jacked up together. They get drunk together. They get high together. Everything they do is together. So in the end, they're all just going to blame each other for some shit they all had a part in.
Well, let's go here. I wonder if Billy Joe has cameras at her house, inside and outside. And if she does, where are they working on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning?
Yeah, well, according to the other brother, or the brother, he is the one that has the app on his phone, and he was able to visually see that the door was open.
Yeah, not the door, baby. I'm talking about cameras, not security system. I'm talking about cameras.
Well, for instance,
because you can have ADT and not have cameras. You can just have alarms on your doors, but not have cameras installed.
Yeah. And it could just tell you back door open.
Yeah, that's it. But you don't have cameras set up to see if somebody's coming and going out of the house or sitting outside the house.
Man, my house is so heavily cameraed. I can see you coming as you enter my neighborhood, and I can see you if you were to go around the block and exit or come the other direction. I see you. I've got 2 cameras at my front door pointing up, because I have stairs that come to my front door, and down. So if you were coming in and out, I got you on camera both sides.
Yeah, because I think it's better if you go ahead and get cameras, if you can afford them, and your security system, because I think you just don't want to have one without the other.
No, to me, nowadays you need to be able to see these, intruders or these weird people.
Most definitely
all over,
Yes.
We have to, just because of what my husband does for a living. There's weird people out there.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
And the fact that since he's gone, he's over there. He can also see what who's coming and going. If if something.
And who's leaving doors unlocked when they got children in the house? I'm not saying you can't make a mistake, because I'm grown and have done it here recently. But I didn't push the door all the way up from coming in. So that's why the lock was actually locked, but the door was not pushed all the way up to lock it. But these people got kids in their house, so you should be making sure to keep everything up to par and locking doors.
You got little kids at that, little toddlers.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And a swimming pool, for heaven's sake.
Well, I wonder if the swimming pool is gated around.
Oh, I'm not sure.
The only thing I saw around the property is, cheap wooden fencing. So I'm wondering, do they have an actual security, like metal gate around the pool? Because naturally, that's going to cost a nice little piece of change to fence in a swimming pool by with wrought iron gates, not no flim flam.
It is, because my swimming pool, you can either, like how my swimming pool is positioned, like I don't have to gate my whole entire pool, because my house connects at one of the ends. So I only had to actually do the iron gate from the fence to like the deck, my upstairs deck from my kitchen. Mm-hmm. So just for this itty bitty piece, was like $1,100.
Wow.
I'm talking little.
Oh, I'm sure, because wrought iron costs. Iron costs more than wood.
Oh yeah.
Lord have
But you know, you have to, you know, you don't have to. It depends on the state. Here in my state, if you were to sell a home, they have a right to request that you have a fence, like before they fund your loan. If you have a pool, if you're buying a house that already has a pool, and no fencing, the bank here has the right to say we're not going to fund you until there's a safety device around the pool.
Okay.
You can also buy these gates, not gates, but fencing, and they're like, have you ever seen, you know, those little things that can stick on your car window and you can pull the shade down?
Yeah.
Okay, so they make actual pool fencing that's like that, and you can just drill or, you know, plug one piece, and you can actually put it all around your whole, you know, pool. But
I was looking at pictures of the search area right now, and I can see a mound of debris over to one side, and then trying to look at the middle of the landfill where it's flat, and there's something in the middle, and I think that's the guys grazing through. The search people are grazing through that trash. This is crazy.
Police have started their search for 20-month-old Quinton Simon in a Chatham County landfill. Quinton has been missing since October 5th. Police said last week they believe he is dead, and his mother, Leilani Simon, is named as the prime suspect in his disappearance and death. We have team coverage with our Camille Syed and Alyssa Jackson. And Camille,
two black girls working.
Update today. We're going to get to her in just a moment. First, let's go to Alyssa, where the search.
You hear the people in the background hollering?
Yep.
Harold Big Mouth in the background.
You know, Quinton Simon has the hearts of thousands of people who have been watching this investigation unfold. So to hear from police and FBI today that not only do they believe that he's dead, but that he was thrown away is just unsettling. Now, this is not a random search. Police and FBI made that clear today. They believe 20-month-old Quinton Simon is there in that landfill. But a lot of people want to know how his mother, Leilani Simon, remains the primary suspect in this investigation and in his disappearance. They believe she put the baby in a dumpster that drops off to the landfill. FBI specialists from Quantico were called in to help guide the search. And that drone video you guys are looking at now from Chatham County shows what that search looks like.
The stuff they've got pulled out looks kind of flat.
Area, the only area they say his body is.
You wouldn't be able to see a baby in that.
How they search.
It's too flat. The trash they pulled out.
Move through the debris placed on the search deck looking for evidence.
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
Once that debris is cleared, it will be placed on the search.
My husband was telling me last night that
replaced with another section of material.
Hold on one second, baby.
This will not be quick. It will not be easy, and the outcome is uncertain.
Now, police and FBI will not confirm what evidence they do have to believe that Quinton is there in that landfill, most likely to protect the integrity of this case. And an interesting point Chief Jeff Hadley pointed out today is that he does not want to stand here before us 6 months from now talking about a flawed investigation. And they say they only have one shot still to arrest Quinton's mother in his death and disappearance. And we have been also talking to Quinton's grandmother who had custody of him throughout this investigation. Camille Syed is joining us right now after talking to the grandmother. Camille, how is she doing?
Alyssa, speaking to Quinton's grandmother, it was a rather short conversation, as you can imagine, after hearing the most recent updates from police. Now, neighbors living on this street say they just want this nightmare to end. As police say, they strongly believe Quinton's remains are in a landfill. People living on Bohalter Road are heartbroken that this has turned to a search for the 20-month-old remains. Right outside the house, Quinton Quinton lived in sits a memorial that started late last week. Now there's a tent here filled with teddy bears, flowers, books, and balloons for baby Quinton. One lady living about 15 minutes away says she felt like she had to come by and drop off a teddy bear, as Quinton's disappearance has been heartbreaking for her since the beginning.
My heart just goes out to the family for this little boy, and I hope they find some closure for him soon. And I just had to. And like I said earlier, it probably won't be the last thing I bring out here.
Again, many people living over here are devastated. Quinton is not expected to be found alive. Part of the grief for many is there are still questions that need answers. Now, I went to an area just down the road off of Ogeechee and spoke to residents who said FBI and police have been in that area questioning residents. Now, I'm working on that story for the news at 5.
Okay.
Reporting live in Chatham County, Camille Syed, WTOC News.
Of course, we've been following this case from the very start. To take a look at all of our past stories and reporting and read up on the latest in the investigation, go to our website, WTOC.com. Just look for the Quinton Simon tab under the news section.
All right, that's some good information. You did hear some people in the background hollering and screaming. That's possibly community members plus some wannabe YouTubers down there raising hell. I didn't see them standing directly in front of the house. It looks like a decent neighborhood to live in. What do you have to say about what she said, the two reporters, what they brought forward? Feel free to go to the, WTOC to see the landfill itself and what they've got spread out and the workers going through that debris. Most of it looks pretty flat. So I think you would be able to tell a baby in that, even if perhaps the child had been flattened, severed. Not to be too descriptive, but that's only way I can describe it.
Yeah, he was saying last night that I had asked him, like, are they just moving like the garbage that's like not in, bags or anything? Like, what are they doing with the stuff?
Yeah, it's wide open.
Not
It's wide
heavy?
open. You have to go to this source. You can see a picture right now. I'm looking at a bigger picture of it, and it's a lot of plastics, like when you throw stuff away in a plastic bag. So they're using big poles in hazmat suits and going through, and they also have yellow boots on, and they're going through the debris, poking through, looking at. Because I guess up top from an aerial view, it looks flat. The debris looks flat, but then the close-up picture will show, trash bags have naturally been flattened down from piles of dirt, packing it down.
Yeah,
so that's the reason why he would probably be flattened at this point.
Good God! And he said that they're having to open. Like
the bags, because it's plastic bags.
Yeah.
The full view of the picture when you first open the article to post it wherever, it shows a bigger picture of the plastic bags. They're flattened naturally because they've been in trash cans, bins, and out in the dirt. So they got to use those sticks to open the bags because it's more time consuming to just open the bags by hand. So they've got sticks to use to poke the bag and try to pry the bags open. Oh, Lord mercy. This is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
The mental, trauma that those people, see. Like, you see that. You see a dead child, and they're probably not going to be, whole. I just can't see how there's not going to be bugs and maggots and all that shit.
Well, it's going to be that because that's the natural breakdown of a body. It's the same with a body. It's the same with an animal. There will be maggots.
I would be traumatized for life. I mean, literally, I would be traumatized after seeing that. Just complete disregard for human life. She is just the biggest piece of what. Like she is the scum of the earth. to just be able to sit there in her home and eat a hot meal and take a shower all while your child is being sifted through in a landfill?
This is the question I meant to ask early on after I read everything. How do you look at your daughter and once again let her stay in your house if indeed she does live there, knowing she killed this child? What are you talking about? Crossing each other over the house, walking by each other, watching TV, staring at the wall, having a drink of whiskey, whatever the hell they're doing in that house. What are you saying to one another? What are they saying to one another? Everybody that lives in the house. This is what I'd like to know.
They're probably not saying anything. They're probably just looking at each other like we're screwed. What do you say? What can you say? At this point, your mom put out a Facebook post or private text message that says you killed your child and he is in the landfill. Like, come on. She should have just packed her up and drove her right down to the sheriff's department. She's not, that Leilani is not even a woman.
Well, she couldn't come back to my house, I'll tell you that.
She doesn't even have the balls.
She couldn't come back. She couldn't come back to my house
to confess to law enforcement. She hasn't even given them an official interview. And she won't. Not at all. She needs to someone needs to drag her.
Here in this article, it says the child's mother and boyfriend have been working with detectives. This is the son. It's just uploaded like 2 minutes ago.
Oh, yeah. You're working with them all right.
Boyfriend saw the baby at 6 a.m. when he woke up. Mother woke up some other time later. Yeah. Okay. Working with detectives. I wonder if she's working with detectives still today, right now.
No, I don't think so. I don't think she's talking. She ain't talking to nobody. She'd be stupid to now.
They've got drones, helicopters, horses, and tracking dogs. I did see the men, officers on the horses. Chatham County Police Chief Jeff Hadley shared the detectives have worked 20-hour days. Emotional tribute. This was uploaded the 14th. This was a user on Twitter. You should be running around, learning new words and movements, playing with balls and toys, reading books, exploring the world around you. I'm so sorry you never got the chance. Quinton. This is by Love Thy Neighbor, Lisa Hawk fan, via Twitter. Fly, fly, precious one, your endless journey has begun. Oh,
it's sad. They're going to take care of her in prison, though. They don't do well with baby killers or child molesters.
So they've collected evidence from the pool, according to an expert. She said checking phone records and evidence collected from the pool could prove crucial. I'd like to know why they say that.
What they say?
Right now, everything is circumstantial. They're likely going through phone records, searching for the body and waiting for forensic test results before making an arrest. They want to have all the evidence first. This is from Jennifer Coffin-Daffer.
They already got the digital evidence. All they need is the body.
You think everything you think everything's come back on everybody's phone now?
I think that
because I've heard it takes a long time to get all that stuff.
No, not necessarily. It all depends on the phone company.
Yeah.
Now, if they're track phone, those little, what do you call them? Burner phones. Those are a lot harder to get any.
Maybe they didn't have a team deployed while they were checking for the baby over the weekend. They said they had to call in a special team to come look for the body. They don't have random people out there looking in the trash, ma'am.
No, but they had some of their law enforcement out there looking. Not a lot, but
that's what I'm saying. They said they called in Quantico, and these people specifically search landfill. So I would think you got to get the people here. Virginia's not right around the corner. from Georgia. They got to suit up, got to have the resources, got to book the people place to stay while they're here. So it wasn't just overnight. You just get all these people to come together that are qualified, that know how to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I'm not down there.
They're paying for all these hotels.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's more to it than just,
food.
Telling somebody, hey, let's jump in the car and we're gonna go search for a baby.
No, there's
a whole lot of things you gotta get it okay. You gotta get the money.
Yeah, they're given 3 meals a day, like a voucher type of deal. And or some of them have, depending on what they do, actually. Like, I'm just talking about like the bureau.
Yeah, you gotta rotate the people out. If you're talking about 20-hour days doing this kind of work, you also got to have a replacement for the people doing the searching.
It's like a dream team, you get all these specialists out there, you got to just rotate them. But yet at the end of the day, nobody really rests, because it's on their mind.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's a lot of work. It's no different than anything when the buildings fell in New York, when that apartment complex fell in Florida. It's not easy like people think, just walk up and start digging through stuff.
No.
And just like with the buildings, it's worse because you're talking about iron, metal, concrete. This is just trash and dirt. It's more strenuous if you're dealing with concrete.
Yep.
Hello, Simply. Thank you for joining me, everybody. 2 hours in. Lord have mercy. I wanted to do a crime vault video later. There's a special out pertaining to Wayne Williams. I kind of want to go back and go back and talk about that again. I did a video a while back, not too long ago, less than a year, I think, about Wayne Williams. Some people still believe he's innocent. Do you know about that case, the Atlanta child murder?
No.
Okay. Hello, S. Lee. Lee, how are you, darling? Thank you for joining us. We're in hour 2 for those coming into the chat. We've brought you information pertaining to the search, the press conference that was done earlier today in Savannah, Georgia. And I brought you other audio pertaining to this child and the search and what it is entailing down there in Georgia. Special team is coming from Quantico to help search for the child physically. So they're going step by step by removing debris, sitting it to the side, going through it, then pushing it over to another location, probably a couple feet over, and then dig up more debris, lay it out, go through it on the deck, as they call it. It's not easy because you're talking about probably tons of dirt and trash. That's great to hear. And my thing is, if you're not out there doing it, you don't know what it's like, because eventually your feet going to get tired, your legs going to get tired, your back's going to get tired. Being humped over, sticking a stick in trash. It's not easy. Because you don't know how much of the debris they've got to shovel out to try to find this baby. I think he may have killed the 2 older adults, but not the kids. Well, there's things linking him to the children. I will play that audio possibly later. Lots of fiber, lots of stuff that people don't even know. Fibers from his house, fibers from the dog, his own hair, fibers from all 3 cars that the parents had. You can't make that up. The percentage of what they found versus how many people are in the universe, 7%. 7%. Pertaining to fibers from his house, the cars. They all matching carpets in the house, carpets from the car. You can't make all that stuff up. You're talking about 8 or 9 at least just from carpet fibers from his house and the cars the victims were transported in. Even if one was in the trunk. Specific debris found on a victim that was in a trunk. Matches Fibers from his house, fibers from the clothes. Also, they found fibers from his bedspread. A lot of people, I never knew that. Fibers from his bedspread, carpets from his house, in the bedroom, carpets, fibers from the cars. And one company had only been in business 1 year, a carpet company. And I don't think it was a place where working class people could afford to buy carpet, if you get my drift. Because everybody knows it costs to carpet your house. Even back in those days, it still costs to put carpet in your house. And a lot of people wanted to blame the KKK. I refuse to believe the KKK had members going in the hood picking up little black children. That's been, you know what I'm saying? That's too obvious. White man riding around. Hey, come here. I want to talk to you. Little black kids would know not to go over to a car with a white man. Inner city, I doubt that. I just think a lot of people fail to realize that this man was who he was and who he is. And one lady's giving her testimony, a black mother, who says nobody explained the evidence to her. So that's why she didn't think Wayne Williams had killed her child, her boy child. But I thought, well, why would they not explain the evidence to you? We know that, yeah, he only got charged with the 2 adult murders, but I'm now to believe that the district attorney didn't explain to her what they found on the 2 male victims and what was found on her own child and other children. Nobody ever explained to her the procedures of what they found in all the deaths. And I think they didn't want to go and do lengthy trials for all them children, because naturally it costs to, you know what I'm saying, have a trial for that many people. That will cost the city money. So that could be a possible reason why they didn't bring forth any charges against them for all those children, even though they do have matching fibers in different locales from his house, body, bedspreads, carpeting, the dog. I mean, it's a lot, more than what I ever knew. What about the cops? Come on now. Please don't tell me you think the cops killed the children. Jesus Christ. Lord have mercy.
I'm gonna hop down into the chat.
That's fine. I'm gonna stop it here because I'm 2 hours. I don't want people to sit this long and watch the video. Thank you for joining me.
You're welcome. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody. That's Kinsley Masters, my mod. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm gonna tap out of here. Feel free to go back to the beginning of this live to get the said information pertaining to the press conference that took place in Savannah, Georgia. The chief and the FBI have spoken in that commentary. Please go to my community board for the said video. I've also played 2 other pieces of content pertaining to this case, news clippings of this search down in a landfill. This is a specific search for those coming into this live late. It is not random. This is not a random search of a landfill. Evidence has brought law officials to that specific landfill, to that specific area of the landfill to search for Quinton Simon. They have evidentiary material that led them there. They will not reveal what that material evidence is. 9 times out of 10, circumstantial, depending on your perception of what they found. 9 times out of 10, once again, pings, GPS, video surveillance. But nonetheless, and also dog tracking, hitting a scent. I was also told that a scent's been picked up there. So something's led them there, and we'll leave it at that. Agents from all over the United States have convened on this locale. An expert team that does landfill searching is there. Drones used, horseback, tracking dogs are all involved in this investigation to find this child. How are these people maneuvering now? Billy Joe, stepfather, Leilani, baby daddies. How is everybody feeling right now? What are they doing? shaking in their boots, scared, worried about who's going to get arrested, who's going to be a cohort, co-conspirator. Although this chief only wants to name her, but I refuse to believe that nobody had knowledge that the child went missing and or murdered and then discarded. I'm not going to even bank on the fact that the baby daddy of the small child saw baby Q at 6 o'clock on that Wednesday. I don't know because I wasn't there, so I'm not even about to say, yeah, he saw the kid. Because my take is this: he's nowhere to be found. He's not speaking or talking publicly. If we're to believe he left soon after she reported the child missing, then that means he 9 times out of 10 has some type of knowledge of what happened to the child, and he booked it on out of there. Thank you, Red. So why leave? Thank you very kindly. I appreciate that. You booked it out of there because possibly you do have knowledge. You booked it out of there because maybe you're scared and didn't have knowledge. Or you booked it out of there because you did have knowledge, you conspired with her, you planned it with her, didn't think what? You know, you had to report the child missing because the grandmother was going to realize the child wasn't there. So what is your part in all of this? Or did you decide to give a plea? Because you knew that you was going to get tracked by cell phones, this and that. And she threw you under the bus when she told law officials that sometimes she picks up your phone when she's going out. So she's letting you know what time of day it is. She's willing to throw anybody under the bus. She also threw the baby daddy of Q under the bus by saying he came and took the child out of the house. She's a dirty bitch. And you all have been slumbering and having sex with her and making babies with her when 1, she never cared for herself. 2, she never cared for her kids. 3, she don't care about none of you all. 4, she don't care about her own damn mama. How about that? Baby daddy, Danny Youngkin. That heifer don't care nothing about you. Because I won't doubt she said some other things about you. Why stop there with, oh, sometimes I pick up his phone by mistake. How clever. So she thought. So whoever's phone she used when she went out on her rendezvous with her baby, it got her to be prime suspect number 1. How about that? Public enemy number 1. You also hear in the commentary I've played people in the background hollering and screaming that are near the house of the decedent child and family. This is serious business. We got to pray for the safety of the other 2 children who are now in foster care. Where are they placed? In Savannah, outside of Savannah? Household with 1 parent, 2 parents, more children? What? Will these children ever be permanently placed with one of these relatives? We know Jody, I'm going to keep calling her Jody. Billy Joe won't ever get the child back. Leilani definitely won't get the child. So who will get the children? Will these fathers be able to assess their children? Gag order issued on the participants in the court proceeding yesterday in juvenile court. What was said in juvenile court? What was the rendering, or was it pushed up to another date? Is the judge waiting to see if the baby is found before rendering any type of custody back to one of these women? 2 of their lawyers were in the court sitting between them. How did they feel in court? How did it go? Once again, gag order issued. All participants cannot speak. Will somebody break protocol and run their mouth anyway? They're all narcissists. So they will typically be like Donald Wells. They'll speak any damn way because it's just in them to talk. Because if you had a gag order not to speak, I just brought you commentary with this black girl sitting here telling you she spoke briefly to Billy Joe. She may not have said anything about what happened in court, but her mouth was still moving. Will there be an arrest soon? Will there be a discovery of remains soon? Will there be arrest of other co-conspirators, such as Billy Joe and other people in the household? Where are these brothers? Who was actually in the house besides Billy Joe, the father, stepfather, baby daddy, and Leilani? If we're to believe they were the only two there, Leilani and the boyfriend, where was the other brother? What's the deal with the brother that's estranged? I want to know the brother that came and picked up Mommy Dearest when they fell out September 7th, Leilani and Billy Joe. Where did he come from? Where did she stay? Where was the husband? See, this is why I tell you, there's something wrong with these people. This is my house. I'm not getting along with you. I'm letting you stay in my house with another person and children, rent-free. You call the police on me and now I'm leaving the damn house. Hell no. You're going to leave the house. Take your children with you. Because in the end, Billy Joe never was responsible for the children. So we can use deduction. She should have put her out. And take your kids with you. Because in the end, the kids couldn't stay in the house by themselves and they couldn't live permanently with Miss McCarter. McCarter has her own family and she's married. And whether she liked the children a lot or not, it wasn't her responsibility to be keeping children around the clock. Because at some point, you're going to have to be taking care of them as far as food, toiletries, washing their clothes. If indeed the mother got put out of that house and she decided to say, oh, can my kids stay here? And she possibly would have lied to McCarter and not told her that Billy Joe put her out. Unless Billy Joe decided to call McCarter and tell her, oh, yeah, by the way, I put her out. Her and the kids. You're on your own with her if you want to deal with her. I'm done. And God only knows if that had actually happened, we might be talking about 3 dead babies. This is a wicked tale of gross negligence of children, disregard for children, disrespect for children, and no cavalry to rescue the children. If you'd like to donate to this great network, Everyday Shenanigans, $McGandy 129 Cash App. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for the stickers, chats. You all have a blessed week. Kind of chilly here in the high 10. Hope you all are safe. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution and not the problem. Mind the children. Prayers for Quinton Simon, that he is discovered in this landfill, that an autopsy can be performed on him. God, let's pray for that, so we can get a manner of death and also get an arrest of Leilani Simon. She has not been a mother to this child. She was just an egg donor. Nothing more, nothing less. And also the grandmother needs to be arrested for gross negligence as well. They all need to go down because they all played a role and they had knowledge thereof pertaining to all of the children. Thank you for joining me. This is Everyday Shenanigans. Thank you, buddy.